Hello, I'm Dimitri Ivonabitch, and I publish a website, www.freeworldkgb.freeservers.com. That website is entirely true. And today I would like to discuss with you why there is recidivism. I published government documents which prove that the Justice Department, Social Security, and the Department of Human Services sanctioned and suborned the rape of a child which was obtained by human traffic, who was rented out at the age of 5 as a masturbatory wash rag. I represented this woman in an appeal which every Social Security litigator for 100 miles around Davenport refused to take as a lost cause, even though I had the payee's admission on a tape made in my answering machine not to bring Wanda around looking for any fortune which meant her Social Security check, because she wasn't going to get it. So an admission of financial abuse was not enough for these people to help this poor woman who had been raped all of her life and abused in every way simply because she was black. I represented this woman at an appeal in 1996. It took me nearly 3 years to get her Social Security file, where I learned all of these terrible things admitted by our government. I published those papers, and because I published those papers along with the names of every Social Security pencil-neck, pencil-pushing son of a bitch, I was brought up on charges for not reporting that I was going to prison because I wrote a joke on the web. I wrote a joke on the web about a town's racism. As we all know, this is a very racist country. The joke was about Mr. Frog and Mr. Toad. And the joke was on Calamus. And because my name is Dimitri Ivonabitch, which is a name you can trust, Mr. Toad contacted Dimitri on his Toad Top computer and asked Dimitri to help him make the people of Calamus less cruel. The cruelty was that Mr. Toad's friend, Mr. Frog, had been used as bait. I used a toad and a frog as a corollary to racism because if frogs and toads can get along, why can't people? And Mr. Toad wanted Dimitri from the KGB to help him place 500 pounds of thorazine in the city's water supply to help the people be less cruel. And Dimitri said, "Mr. Toad, thorazine will not help the people be less cruel. It will make them be cruel slower." I spent 2.5 years in an Iowa prison for writing that joke. I think it's still funny. And while I was in that prison, my friend David Bain stole everything that I worked all of my life for. He won't even give me back my car. I entrusted my things to him because I trusted him. Mr. Bain saw me coming. Of course, the police and the authorities won't help me get my car back. That would be grand theft auto. Nor will they help me get anything else back, even though he took it. He took it through theft by deception because I caught the authorities in my area helping scumbags sell interstate drugs in the Quad Cities, USA, Davenport, Rock Island, Moline, East Moline, Bettendorf, Silvis. I took $7,000 out of a Merrill Lynch account, which goes to show you what happened to the rest of my money. And I bought video equipment, but some of it so small you could put it in the buttonhole of your shirt, and I caught everyone. Some of those videotapes, just a few of them, just a teaser, is on my website. Pictures from those videos. There are videos, however, on my YouTube channel. Why is there recidivism? Well, because Mr. Bain took Social Security money after I had told Social Security I was going to be incarcerated. They refused to stop my Social Security checks, and Mr. Bain had my wallet. And he took my debit card, ran it through the machine in his business, and transferred 3 years' worth of Social Security money directly into his bank account. The reason why Mr. Bain was not facing prosecution is because the federal pigs wanted me for ratting them off for allowing the rape of Wanda Butler. So when I got out of an Iowa prison for writing a joke, the Supreme Court let me out. Because it's not against the law to make fun of rednecks, crackers, shit kickers, and peckerwoods. The feds came after me because David Bain had all of this money in his possession, and he's been allowed to keep nearly a fourth of it. Jeff Weindrich has $2,000 of it. When they determine that money's stolen, if they know where the money went, they're supposed to get that money back. But they just wanted me. And now we're going to get to the topic of recidivism. While I was in prison, I watched people, children, veritable children, being wrongfully drugged. And some of them weren't. There was a guy named Sammons who was a total asshole, violent and everything else. And they finally put him on Haldol. And it had worked. He was as nice as pie for a couple of weeks. And when the doctors in these prisons see that their nostrums are actually doing something that's positive, they then cold turkey the inmate and take him off those drugs. They did that to Mr. Sammons, and he went after a guard. This is how the prison system works. When I was in federal prison, I watched doctors abusing patients with drugs. And I watched the federal officers who were guarding those prisoners goad those people into mutilating themselves. They purposely allow inmates who are dangerous to themselves to have things in their cells which they can hurt themselves with. And I watched people being taken on gurneys who had blood running from their genitals because the guards told them to mutilate their genitals. And that's why there's recidivism. There's recidivism because people who work in both federal and state prisons feel that if the inmate comes out worse for the wear and acts out once he's free, he's just going to come back in. And they consider that job security. You're paying for that. You pay for it with your tax dollars. You pay for it by being steeped in crime. And the people who promulgate this behavior are being paid by your tax dollars. This is Dimitri, and this is the Naked Truth. Read www freeworldkgb.freeservers.com. Everything on that website is true.